So, I'd actually like to kick off with a thank you for the two previous speakers. I think they both have spoken very eloquently and with great sort of nuance about the digital marketplace, but also some of the issues. He's not here, he nipped out the back. I'd also actually like to start with an apology and a thank you to our advertisers, right? We know that what's happened is not brand safe, right? And we absolutely are on it. Simple as that. It's not acceptable that bad people can turn our platforms to their own uses, and we are dealing with that. It is difficult, but we are committed to it. I'm just going to give you one stat, because that's not what this presentation is about, but one stat which will give you an idea of some of the effort we're putting into it. But we are working with live people, we're working on our policy, and we're also working in terms of enforcement. But the stat I'm going to give you is actually that 87% of all takedowns are now actioned before a single flag is raised. So since this issue has been brought to our attention, we've turned our engineers onto it. We're using extensive and our massive AI capabilities to actually track and take down these problems before they occur. And that's how we're going to have to work moving forward. Right? So we are committed to this, and he's not in the room, but I would like to apologize to him and also thank him for working with us, and we know that we have to work with all of our advertisers to win their trust. But I'm not here to talk about that today. I'm here to talk about the future of AV, or the future of TV, or the future of advertising. And I just want to share with you some thoughts, because one of the things I find in my role is really we tend to think of today as a static incarnation of the past, and tomorrow as a tweak on the current today. And that's maybe not the right way to think about it, because we know that's not how the future works. I'm speaking, this is my own views, my own analysis. I don't think you've come here to listen to a sales pitch. I don't think you've actually come here to sort of listen to a Google party line. I think you want to hear something which will be thought-provoking and hopefully spark some ways forward for yourselves, whether you're an advertiser, an agency, or in fact a producer or a TV station. So what is the future? Well, the first thing to remember is actually we've changed a lot. The TV industry has changed beyond measure. This was the first TV ad in the UK. It broadcast for, I think it was £25,000. All that money was donated to charity, and it was seen by, I think it was 100,000 people at the time, right? If you contrast that to the industry today, they're not comparable. Equally, many things have changed. I grew up with ads like this. It was illegal to advertise tobacco, but it was legal to advertise cigars, and the regulations on that has changed as well. And it's also true to say we had a lot of good debate on Tuesday. Regulations will change with the times too. So some of the ways TV is evolving, I mean, the list is actually endless. When I was young, TV started at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and pop videos were on at 7 o'clock on Thursday evening, right? That is not the case anymore. And whether it's the growth of multi-channel households, the changes in measurement, sales consolidation in the UK, niche channels, who'd have thought QVC had a place in the world, right? Well, all of these things have changed, and they will continue to change. And TV is an innovative, dynamic, evolving medium. And to think of it in any other way actually is to do a disservice to the industry. So, what's happening? Audiences are evolving too. And again, we've still seen some charts on that. And it's really important to say that those changes are not equal everywhere. They're not evenly distributed. They're not the same for everyone. It is a much more complex tapestry which marketers now find themselves having to work in. And that is just fundamentally the truth of how we're playing. And all of those audiences have different values as well. Young people, very attractive. But you know what? I also know that house prices are really high and disposable incomes aren't potentially where you'd like them to be, and therefore their spending power may not be as much as older audiences. So these are all things which are very relevant to you, your product, your business, what it is you're trying to achieve. Importantly, their viewing habits are shifting, but so are their ad consumption habits as well. So yes, all of this will continue to evolve, and the consumer will continue to evolve. And so what we're actually playing is this sort of game of how do we get ahead, how do we catch up, how do we make the most of the future? And one of the things I hear a lot about is that struggle between making today work, but be ready for tomorrow. Whether it's data transparency, whether it's having the right content, whether it's investing in the right platforms, which are actually going to take me through. So programmatic TV is sort of one of the conversations we're being asked a lot about at the moment. Lots of different definitions, but what is it? Well, sort of my working definition, or our goal would be this, which is a data-driven approach to planning, buying, and measurement of audiences of content on any device within a unified platform. Right? It's a working definition, it's not an official one, but it's a useful one, because I think at the heart of it, what we're really talking about is a shift to a data-driven approach in everything we do. I'll be absolutely honest, I've been following cryptocurrencies and blockchain for a long time. I love the thought of actually using that in terms of transparency and verification and where my data is being used. And use of personal data is going to be a huge thing in the future. And the ability to enable that data in a respectful way throughout the chain is going to be absolutely key to success. So what do these changes mean? I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk a little bit about what are the advantages to the parties, and then I'm going to do a tiny little bit of future gazing. I know I don't have too long. So the first thing is going to be about availability of inventory. The opportunity to find an eyeball. You can find people everywhere. The question will be, is that the inventory you want? Is that the eyeball you want? And is that within the content that you want? But that will explode. There will be more choices in terms of how you buy and what is right for you as an advertiser. There will be more choices in terms of access to more content for viewers. But that also means more places for content makers and distributors to play. In terms of programmatic TV, we are working with DoubleClick and Google Fiber in some areas with some TV broadcasters to say, okay, well, how can we enable your platforms? What are we doing and what are we bringing to you? And we're making a few learnings from that, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about those. There will definitely be more audience signals. Right? One of the advantages of more data, and I think that, there you are, we heard earlier, and one of the things which is absolutely critical to the value of monetization on the internet is being able to increase the value of that eyeball, to know more about that person, to make your message more relevant to that person and more valuable to that person. You know, in a perfect programmatic future, as a consumer, every pixel on my screen will drive value for me as a viewer. It will either be something I want to see or something I need to see but possibly didn't know existed. Right? But that's what we must be aiming for, and we must take this user-first approach. It's unlikely it's going to be real time all the time. We sort of look at something like the Google search auction and go, well, everything's going to go down to... Actually, it probably won't. Right? If I'm a TV producer or a broadcaster, what this means is actually more information and more strategies available to me. It doesn't mean that I have to use everything all the time in that way. So perhaps we should be thinking much more of a hybrid model in that sense. Measurement is going to be absolutely at the center of this, and data will be at the center of measurement. Effectiveness is what's going to drive growth. As we heard earlier, there's lots of stuff out there, but what should you be doing? How much should you be investing? How many sales is that going to drive for you? And actually understanding that effectiveness, yes, you see a lot of the sort of the broad meta studies. We do a lot of studies. Everyone does a lot of studies that says, my medium is better than yours. That's absolutely true. In many cases, right? And in the cases they use, those are the right answers. But the question is, as an advertiser, is that true for you? With your brand, with your audience, and that's going to be the skill that has to be learned. And that's where a lot of value will be generated within the chain. Will the measurement be all about search lift? You know, we have some very interesting and useful measurements. Will they be long-term or short-term? We heard that question earlier. I think ultimately, an effectiveness-based approach is actually going to grow the pie. There's going to be many more advertisers available. A lot of advertising is DR, short-term, etc. driven. A lot of Google spend, right, and search spend is DR, short-term, effectiveness driven. And if I can get that result through programmatic TV in cheaper airtime, I can see video or programmatic TV competing directly with search, not just with other TV. Right? As an advertiser, we already see, as Google, we see our advertisers working programmatically in video in the same way and in a short-term basis as they do in search. So linking the media platforms and allowing orchestration is really going to be one of the outcomes of this sort of programmatic, planned, data-driven world. So we will find a uniform measurement system. My bet is actually that it's going to be result outcome-driven rather than input-driven. At the moment we work with inputs, I think it will probably be outcome that drives this, which is why having people on the client side and on the broadcaster side who really understand how output is, how that impact is measured, and setting that learning agenda is going to be absolutely vital. What is it we need to know to drive our decisions to enable us to become more effective? That learning agenda is absolutely vital. And if you think about it, I love that phrase, the internet is 20 today. Well, we're only just starting to learn, right? We're starting to learn those things. We need to accelerate that learning agenda, and that will become a competitive advantage whether you make content, whether you distribute content, or whether you're actually selling brands. Automation of workflow will be another huge benefit from programmatic. Why will that be such a huge benefit? Well, at the moment, the majority of time is spent doing low-value tasks, i.e., not the learning agenda I just talked about. It's scheduling, it's wading through data, it's making macro choices and very broad guesses rather than actually analyzing what's going on. An automated workflow will allow you to do that so much better. You will be able to design experiments, you will be able to know where things are going, you will have much better transparency, and also very importantly, it will bring new advertisers into the mix. Advertisers who currently cannot engage, say, a massive agency. There are many, taking YouTube as an example, many advertisers who only spend thousands or tens of thousands of pounds for whom broadcast TV is just not an option. There is this long tail that can be activated through an automated workflow, which will then grow the pie. And of course, machine learning. Right? Google, we were a mobile-first company, we are now an AI-first company. Machine learning is going to be transformational for all of us. Now, is it going to put us all out of jobs? No. Right? It will change the jobs we do. It will remove the drudgery. Machine learning is really good at doing millions and millions of very repetitive tasks. Right? What it's not good at doing is actually saying, what does the consumer want this week? Right? What are they going to want next week? How are they actually engaging with this product, and actually, how does it fulfill and add value to their lives? Machine learning will never do that. Certainly not in my lifetime. Right? And that is really where the people in this room, whether you're a brand marketer, a producer, or a media or creative agency, that's the value to add. That's where you actually grow the pie. That's where you grow the economy. It's not by trafficking ads. So, where are we going? Content is going to become more programmatic. There are opportunities now, but those opportunities will extend across platforms, and I'll talk about that in a second. The unified platform to plan, buy, track, measure will be a huge enabler for a much broader swathe of advertisers. More signals will add value to the eyeballs, but it won't always be real time. I think you should think hybrid. Results absolutely will drive the new currencies. Effectiveness will be the new currencies, and that will be data-driven. And there will be automation. We will still need people, though, and those people will be working on the much more valuable tasks. So it probably gives you an idea of where I'm going in terms of what does this mean? What's the value? Well, put it bluntly, advertisers, I think we heard before me, they're going to shift to effectiveness. They're going to shift to what works. It's not going to be, I want to be in digital, or I want to be in TV. It's going to be what's working for me, right? And that includes all of those issues about exposure, fraud, all of those things. If it's not working, I can't use it. And so it's incumbent on us to start to prove that worth in an individual and real-time way. And that will be the use of data, single customer views, all of those things. From a broadcaster and distributor, the opportunities are really about driving yield. You will know so much more about your audiences. You will know about what they're worth. You will be able to schedule way more intelligently. You'll be able to extend sponsorships by saying, yes, these are the people who engage with this. Let me show you how you can engage with this audience in other facets of their life. And you're already sort of seeing that with things like sort of, I'm a Celebrity, for example. You've got the shoulder viewing. You'll be able to take that concept and take it into other places. So you'll genuinely be able to get more value out of those properties. And of course, you'll have far more sophisticated pricing and selling strategies. There's going to be some stuff, which is your absolute tentpole stuff, where you're going to be going, this is, not just the highest price stuff, but you probably need to be one of my VIP customers to be able to buy it. And then there's going to be other stuff where you're just saying, well, look, you know what, we're prepared to bundle this up and sell this to you if you can add value to it using your own signals, right? But what all of that will mean is much better yield, but you'll also have a better understanding of how that's working for the consumer. So one of the things we always look at is ad load and watch time, and how do the two work? How do the two work together? Again, we need to be respectful to those viewers. We can't shove loads of ads in front of them just to make more money, because they will go elsewhere. And I think broadcasters and distributors will be looking very closely at that. In terms of producers, you're looking for improved return. And producing is a risky business. And can you use that data to remove those risks? What is available to you to allow you to say, you know what, not only can I increase the chances of me having a hit, but actually I can also increase the chances of me making money off the back of this, whether it's through much easier international syndication, through licensing opportunities, again, through owning some of that data and my viewers, and people engaging with the properties that I develop, and actually retaining a piece of that rather than handing it all over. And then finally, for agencies, if there are any agencies among you, I think there's this thing about shifting to value. That was a great cartoon we saw earlier, and again, recognizing, and now you're here, I want to apologize and say thank you, right? But recognizing that, for me, one of the things, it ends on this, that's probably why it's cheap. Right? And that's just the wrong way for agencies to be working, right? And at the end of the day, they're trying to move away from this model of we're going to do it cheap to one, actually we're going to add value. And effectiveness will give them a huge step up in that direction. And there are new entrants in the marketplace. So the fact that the GM Maserati pitch was won by Accenture certainly came as a surprise to me. Anyone else? Yeah, right. I was in the media industry for 25 years. I also worked on Ford of Britain at Mindshare. And I never thought I would see the day when that would happen. But clearly, the agenda is greater than just can I make the ad at the right price. Right? And so that shift to value is going to be so important. So in summary, I think there'll be better return for advertisers, and that will mean you will actually get more advertisers. So and this was my question earlier. I think that pie is actually changing in shape and size, and the opportunity to activate more of that long tail is going to be crucial. I think there will be better yield for broadcasters and distributors of content. You will be able to be much smarter about it. You will be much more sophisticated, and you will actually know the true value of your content, both in terms of demand from the consumer or the viewer and demand for advertisers to be in that content. And that curated content could well be the absolute core of the schedules. There'll be lower risk for producers, because you'll be able to look at what people are consuming. You will be able to understand why. There will be huge amounts of data, which we know how Netflix are using a lot of that data, but it will open up that game to more people. And there will be a shift to value towards agencies. So rather than explaining why they bought cheaply and then having to defend that decision with audits, et cetera, they will actually be focusing on, here's how we're going to add value, here's how we're going to grow business. What's your efficiency and effectiveness agenda, and how can we bring our consolidated strength? Because agencies have a lot of consolidated strength in terms of the amount of media they process and the skill sets that exist, and they will be able to activate that as well. So my summary is, the future for TV is bright, and it's an opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. I think we have time for one quick question. Does anyone have a question? Yep. You just wait for the mic, just here.
Hi, David. It's John from VideoNet. Do you think you'll reach 100% of takedowns before anybody else has to flag it?
Will we
Do you
reach
think
100%
you'll reach
of
100%?
takedowns?
You're 80% now.
Before anyone flags
Before it
them?
has to be flagged by a human.
I think there will always be human flags. I think that's the right way to look at it. There will always be something that someone's going to want to flag for some reason. Right? The question is, as soon as we get a flag, we can spot that. The other question is, what is the reason for taking this down? Right? And that's a balancing act which we have to activate. There is stuff that Kim Jong-il would love to have taken down, which we're not going to take down, so he's going to flag stuff.
Okay.
Great. Thank you very much. Thanks, David. Is there anything else? No? Oh, one more. Okay. Are you happy to take one more?
Yeah.
All right.
Hi, Ian Dowd from Newcom. A very optimistic ending where it seems that everybody wins. And that tends not to be the case. Who do you see not benefiting from the future as you see it?
Okay, I'm going to challenge you on that, right? Everybody does win, right? Today is a better time to be alive than ever before, right? We live longer, disease is lower, crime is lower. All of these things are true. Technology and advancements grows the pie. That has been true since the Industrial Revolution, right? So yes, there is more to win for. It doesn't mean everybody wins all the time. There will be winners and losers within categories, right? But everybody who is working there today has the opportunity to be successful, right? But you're going to have to be the best at what you do versus your competition, right? And there's absolutely, some of the stats you see, and I'm used to this because we're Google. You always sort of see, well, Google's getting this. A lot of the money that Google makes is growth. It's money that wasn't in the marketplace before. It's advertisers who didn't have global markets who are advertising on Google and finding customers and growing their businesses and then spending with us. It's not a zero-sum game.
Great. Are you hanging around for the rest of the conference?
I'm going to try to.
Okay. Brilliant. So sorry, if there's any more questions, just catch David afterwards. But please join me in thanking David once again.